Welcome to the new class, and today we will continue the topic of strabismus, and today's topic is extraocular muscles. There are 7 extraocular muscles in each eye. 4 recti, that is superior rectus, inferior rectus, lateral rectus and medial rectus. 2 obliques, superior oblique and inferior oblique, and 1 levator palpebris superioris. Levator palpebris superioris is not associated directly with the movements of eyeball, so we will not discuss levator palpebris superioris here. Rest of 6 muscles are involved in the movement of eyeball, so we will discuss these muscles, that are superior, inferior, lateral and medial recti, and superior oblique and inferior oblique. We will discuss origin, course and insertion, actions of muscles and their nerve supply. So 4 recti originates from the apex of orbit from a fibrous ring which surrounds the optic foramen and the central portion of superior orbital fissure. This fibrous ring is called annulus of Zinn, and it is also called common tendinous ring, and it is the common origin point of all 4 recti muscles. Superior rectus originates from the superior portion of annulus of Zinn, medial from the medial portion, inferior from the inferior portion, and lateral rectus originates from the lateral portion of annulus of Zinn. So all 4 recti originates from the annulus of Zinn. Superior oblique also originates from the apex of orbit from the body of sphenoid bone just above the annulus of Zinn. This is annulus of Zinn and this is the origin of superior oblique. See, here is this one is the superior rectus, this one is the medial rectus, and the superior oblique originates from the it originates in between the superior and the medial rectus just above the annulus of Zinn. So 5 of the extraocular muscles arises from the apex of orbit. The 6th muscle, which is inferior oblique, it is the only muscle which arises from front of the orbit. It arises from the orbital plate of maxillary bone just posterior to the anterior orbital rim. This is anterior orbital rim and this is the orbital plate of maxilla. So this inferior oblique gets its origin from the orbital plate of maxilla, from the front side of orbit. Rest of the 5 muscles arises from the back of the orbit. Now the course and insertion of recti muscles. The word rectus is a Latin word which means straight. These muscles are named recti because they have straight course from their origin to insertion in comparison with the oblique muscles which are obliquely placed in the orbit. But actually recti are not as straight as their name means. Medial and lateral recti are relatively straight. They arise from the orbital apex and they comes forward following almost straight course and inserts into sclera anterior to the equator of eyeball. This is equator of eyeball and it is approximately 13 to 14 millimeter behind the limbus. This is again an important point, that insertion of recti is anterior to equator and insertion of obliques is behind the equator. Here you see this rectus, it is actually the superior rectus. It is crossing the equator and inserting behind the limbus at some fixed distance. This is lateral rectus. Roughly here is the equator, here is the equator of the eyeball, and this rectus is originating from orbital apex and it is crossing the equator and inserts into sclera behind the limbus. This position of insertion of recti and obliques affects the action of muscles. We will discuss it later when we discuss the actions of extraocular muscles. Now coming back to the insertion of recti, horizontal recti inserts into sclera anterior to equator. All recti have fixed insertion points in relation with the limbus. Medial rectus inserts 5.5 mm behind the limbus and lateral rectus inserts 6.9 mm behind the limbus. See, this is limbus, and this is the insertion of medial rectus and this is the insertion of lateral rectus. Now the two vertical recti, superior and inferior. Superior rectus originates from superior part of annulus of Zinn and it courses anteriorly. This is annulus of Zinn. Here is the superior rectus. It is coming anteriorly and laterally and upward over the globe. And it inserts into sclera anterior to the equator, 7.7 millimeter behind the limbus. Inferior rectus also originates from the annulus of Zinn and it courses anteriorly, downward and laterally along the floor of orbit and inserts into sclera 6.5 millimeter behind the limbus. Superior and inferior recti make slightly angular attachment with the eyeball. As we have discussed, the extraocular muscles inserts at some fixed distance from the limbus. The medial rectus inserts closest to the limbus, with inferior rectus, lateral rectus and superior rectus inserting progressively further away, resulting in an imaginary spiral which is called spiral of Delaux. See, the medial rectus is 5.5, this is 6.5, then lateral rectus is 6.9 and superior rectus is 7.7 millimeter behind the limbus. It is clinically significant because they are important landmarks while performing different eye surgeries like strabismus surgery, retinal surgeries, especially scleral buckling and pars plana vitrectomy, and also for the repair of traumatic eyes. Superior oblique originates from the orbital apex above the annulus of Zinn. It passes anteriorly upward along the superior medial wall of the orbit and the muscle sheet becomes a tendon and it passes through a cartilaginous pulley called trochlea. This is trochlea. In this picture, this is trochlea. So this trochlea is actually a Greek word which means pulley. So it is a pulley situated in the superior nasal aspect of the frontal bone and it is the only cartilaginous structure found in the normal orbit. The function of trochlea is to redirect the muscle because it arises from the orbital apex and which is its anatomical origin, but when it crosses the trochlea its line of action changes. So the functional origin and its direction of pull is now from the trochlea and all the actions are from pulling effect from the trochlea, not from its origin from the apex of orbit. So after passing from trochlea, the redirected tendons courses inferiorly, posteriorly and laterally, forming an angle of 51 degrees with the visual axis. This is visual axis and this is the axis of the muscle. So it forms an angle of 51 degrees when the eye is in primary position. The tendon passes under the superior rectus muscle and inserts into the posterior superior quadrant of the eyeball behind the equator. And this inferior oblique originates from the small shallow depression of orbital plate of maxillary bone from the front of the orbit. It extends posterior to the inferior rectus, laterally and superiorly to insert into sclera behind the equator in the posterior lateral quadrant of eyeball close to macula. Now here you have to note few things. Number one, insertion of obliques follow the oblique paths. This is superior oblique. This is now its a new line of action and this is inferior oblique. So they both are obliques. And number two, they insert behind the equator. And number three, their line of pull is from anterior to posterior. Inferior oblique is already originating from the anterior part of the orbit and it passes obliquely towards the posterior side, while superior oblique, although initially originates from the posterior side of the orbit, but as it crosses through the trochlea, it has changed its direction of pull. So the direction of pull of obliques is from anterior to posterior, while the recti have their direction of pull from posterior to anterior. Now the actions of extraocular muscles. For understanding the actions of extraocular muscles, first we need to understand the relation of orbital cavity and the eyeball. This is the orbit and these are the eyeballs. These are the eyeballs in primary position. So the orientation of orbital cavity is that its medial walls are parallel with each other while the lateral walls are obliquely oriented. So this both medial and lateral orbital walls make an angle of 45 degrees with each other. And when the eyeball is placed in the primary position, it is placed like this. So this is the orientation of orbital cavity and this is the axis of eyeball. The extraocular muscles arising from the orbital apex follow the orbital axis. This is the line of muscles. Muscles are coming from here orbital apex and they are going forward to insert into the eyeball. So this is the line of coming of muscles. And they are not aligned in the same line with the axis of eyeball. So the contraction of muscle produces actions accordingly. And both orbital axis and this is the orbital axis and this is the axis of eyeball. So these both makes an angle of 23 degree with each other. This is actually 22.5, but for the sake of convenience it is considered as 23 degrees. So the extraocular muscles have primary, secondary and tertiary actions. They all are dependent on the position of eyeball in the orbit. Primary action is the major effect of muscle on position of eyes when the muscle contracts and the eyes are in primary position. Secondary and tertiary effects are the additional effects of muscle contraction when the eye is in primary position. Now the actions of horizontal recti. Horizontal recti are simple. Their alignment is in such a way that they produce only primary action. They have no secondary and tertiary actions. Medial rectus moves the eyeball medially. It is called adduction. And lateral rectus moves the eyeball laterally. It is called abduction. So as their name shows, the lateral rectus produce lateral movement of the eyeball and the medial rectus produce the medial movement of the eyeball. The actions of vertical recti is little bit complicated and their actions depends upon the position of eyeball in the orbit. When the eye is in primary position, this is how the superior rectus is attached. It is coming from the back of the orbit and it is inserted in the superior portion of eyeball in front of limbus. So it makes an angular attachment. Both superior and inferior recti forms an angle of 23 degrees with the axis of eyeball. This is the axis of eyeball and this is the axis of muscle as it is the axis of orbit. So this is the line of muscle. And here when they both intersect, they make an angle of 23 degrees. Superior rectus is attached to the eyeball superiorly and in front of limbus. So when it contracts, the eyeball moves up. So its primary function is elevation. Simultaneously, its fibers are at an angle, not simply straight. So its contraction also rotates the superior meridian of cornea inward, which is called intorsion because it is near to the superior meridian of cornea. So it rotates the superior meridian inwards and it also has a smaller effect of adduction of the eyeball. These all are the actions of superior rectus when the eyeball is in primary position. That is, the angle between the muscle and the eyeball is approximately 23 degrees. Now see what happens when we rotate the eyeball. If the eyeball is moved outwards, that is abduction, now the axis of orbit is this and this visual axis also rotates here. So they both are aligned. The visual axis and the orbital axis or the axis of muscle are now the same. So in this position, when the muscle contracts, it will only have its primary action of elevation. It has no secondary and tertiary actions here. Now, because the axis of muscle and the axis of eyeball are same, so it is the best position to check the action of superior rectus. Ask the patient to see in the lateral gaze and then ask him to look upward. We will do this in detail when we do the positions of gaze in next lecture. Just make a concept that superior rectus is purely elevator when the eye is in abducted position. Don't get confused with its tertiary action of adduction with this abducted position of gaze. That was about the action of muscle when the eye is in primary position. Then the adduction is the tertiary action of the muscle. Now we have moved the eyeball laterally, which is not the action of superior rectus. It is due to contraction of lateral rectus. But in this abducted position, we can check the action of superior rectus in a better way as compared to check its action in the primary position. Because in the primary position, it is also doing its secondary and tertiary actions. And it is not a pure elevator at that time. So this would be the best position to check the action of superior rectus in abducted position. This concept will be more clear to you when we do the diagnostic and cardinal positions of gaze. Now see here, what happens when we move the eyeball nasally? We adduct the eyeball to 67 degrees, which is not possible with voluntary actions. But theoretically, if we rotate the eyeball to 67 degrees inside, now this is the action, this is the visual axis and this is the action axis of muscle. So the angle between the visual axis and the axis of muscle or orbital axis is now 90 degrees. So when this muscle contracts, it will only intort the eyeball. So it is a pure intortor. When the globe is adducted to 67 degrees, the superior rectus has only action of intorsion. Now the inferior rectus. Inferior rectus arises from the lower part of annulus oxyn and it inserts 6.5 mm behind the inferior limbus. When the eye is in primary position, its primary action is depression and secondary actions are adduction and extorsion. Why it is depressor? Because it is attached inferiorly and anterior to equator. So when it contracts, the eyeball moves downwards. And because it is attached near to the inferior limbus, so when it contracts, it moves the vertical part of inferior corneal meridian inside and the vertical part of superior corneal meridian outside, which is called extorsion. And it also has a secondary tertiary action of adduction. Now again, like superior rectus, if the globe is abducted to 23 degrees, inferior rectus acts only as a depressor. So this is the best position to check the primary action of inferior rectus. If the globe is adducted to 67 degrees, it acts only as a extortor. The primary action of superior oblique is intorsion because it has an oblique insertion in superior part of eyeball near to superior corneal meridian. So when it contracts, it causes the intorsion of eyeball. It rotates the superior corneal meridian inwards. This is the line of action of muscle when the eyeball is in its primary position. Its secondary action is depression. Why it is depressor? Because it is attached, number one, it is attached posterior to the equator, and number two, its line of action is from front to back, from anterior to posterior. When the muscle contracts, it pulls its fibers contracts in this direction, so it moves the eyeball downwards. and slightly outwards, that is abduction. Its tertiary action is abduction. Now this is the position of eyeball when the eyeball is in primary position, and this is the position of muscle, superior oblique, and the eyeball is in primary position. When the globe is adducted to 51 degrees, when the globe is moved inwards to 51 degrees, the line of muscle is aligned with the line of eyeball, that is the optical axis or axis of eyeball. So in this position, the superior oblique is only act as a depressor, because now its line of action is no more oblique. It is aligned with the axis of eyeball. So it is only act as a depressor, and this is the best position to check the action of superior oblique when the eye is in adducted position. And when the globe is abducted to 39 degrees, then the line of muscle and this axis of eyeball both are at 90 degrees with each other. And in this position, the superior oblique act as a pure intortor. It only has action of intorsion. Inferior oblique originates from a small depression just behind the orbital rim. It passes backward and laterally to insert in the posterior lower temporal quadrant of globe close to macula. Its primary action is extorsion because it is attached to the inferior part of the globe, so it acts on the inferior corneal meridian, and due to its oblique insertion it moves the inferior corneal meridian inwards, and the vertical part of the superior corneal meridian rotates outwards. This is called extorsion. And its secondary action is elevation. Why it is elevator? Because it acts from front to back, and because of its insertion which is posterior to equator in the inferior surface of the eyeball. So when it contracts, the eyeball moves upward and outwards. That is called abduction. This is the same picture, but here we consider inferior oblique muscle. This is the position of muscle when the eyeball is in primary position. And the difference is just the superior oblique is present superiorly and attached to the superior side of eyeball, and inferior oblique is present in the inferior surface of the eyeball, and it acts from the inferior surface of eyeball. So when the globe is adducted to 51 degrees, the line of muscle is aligned with the axis of eyeball and it is no more oblique. So it is aligned with the optical axis. So this is in this position it only acts as an elevator, and this is the best position to check the action of inferior oblique. So when the eye is in adducted position, we check the action of inferior oblique. When the globe is abducted to 39 degrees, the axis of muscle and the axis of eyeball are at 90 degrees. So in this position it acts as an extortor. This is the quick go through of the actions of extraocular muscles, and the lateral rectus, it has only action of abduction. It has no secondary and tertiary actions. Similarly, the medial rectus has only a primary action which is adduction, and it also don't have any secondary and tertiary actions. Superior rectus, the primary function is elevation. Secondary and tertiary functions are intorsion and adduction. Inferior rectus is a primary a depressor, and its secondary and tertiary actions are extorsion and adduction. Superior oblique is primary a intortor and a depressor of the eyeball, and inferior oblique, the primary action is extorsion and secondary action is elevation. Now the nerve supply of extraocular muscles. 3 cranial nerves supply the extraocular muscles. They are third cranial nerve, that is oculomotor nerve, sixth cranial nerve, that is abducent nerve, and the fourth cranial nerve, that is trochlear nerve. All the extraocular muscles are supplied by third cranial nerve except lateral rectus and superior oblique. Lateral rectus is supplied by sixth cranial nerve and the superior oblique is supplied by trochlear nerve, which is the fourth cranial nerve. You can remember this with this formula LR6SO4. Lateral rectus from the sixth nerve and superior oblique from the fourth nerve. Thank you very much. We will continue the topic in next lecture.